Hello, welcome to my weekly update. I hope everyone watching has had a great week. This past week for me has been a bit challenging. I had an appointment with a new general practitioner this past week, and I'm reminded of how challenging it is to have chronic illness and see conventional general practitioners. I think that has a lot to do with the fact that they aren't trained in how to manage chronic conditions, and a lot of what I was telling her she didn't fully understand, I don't think, or was a bit dismissive. One of the first questions she asked me was if I was seeing a psychiatrist, and it's like, I've tried that and it didn't work. You know, I had a traumatic brain injury, Lyme, just a bunch of health conditions, and I really truly believe that there is a psychological component to all illness, and I think that conventional medicine is entirely too fast to put legitimate medical patients into psychiatric care as a way of addressing symptoms that they may not understand is related to actual medical conditions. So it's really it's frustrating. I almost had a little meltdown about it because it's been 20 years of this, of going to different general practitioners within the conventional medical field and being gaslit or turned away or referred out or told it's something else, and then you stay sick or you get sicker, and it's just it hits a lot of trauma points for me. Going into a new general practitioner is always incredibly difficult. Sadly, I can't afford to see a full-time integrative functional doctor. I mean, I have a great functional doc that does my bioidentical hormone replacement stuff, and I can see her for a lot of this stuff, but I just simply can't swing it right now financially. So I am more or less stuck with the general practitioners that my insurance will cover, and that makes the pool smaller by a significant amount and really limits the kind of care I will have access to. And it is it's frustrating and it's very disheartening, and it's if I didn't know there were other answers out there, if I would be having this conversation, let's say 2017, like this right now, I would be in a much different headspace than this. I would be probably a little bit more inconsolable. There's only so many times you can be circulated around through, these different conventional doctors, and before you start to lose hope, or you've seen so many specialists, or, there was a point in my life where I spent literally almost every single weekday in some form of medical office. And I lived that way for many, many years. And it's really, really frustrating, and it's unfortunate. And I truly believe that the conventional medical field has a lot of room for growth, and it's so frustrating. I'm already anxious when I go to see a new general practitioner. I haven't exactly had a pleasant time in the medical system. So, it's just really hard. And it's hard to talk about. This whole healing process is really, really hard. Not just the waking up from traumatic brain injury is really difficult, especially when you don't know you had it. It's like you wake up one day and you're like, oh, a stranger's been living my life for 20 years, and now I have this enormous mess I have to sort out, even though it was really you that did it, but you don't remember much of it. It's challenging, and it makes me question myself a lot. I'm never too sure of if the decision I'm making is the right one to make, or it's all very confusing. So in addition to not only that being difficult, then I have all of these environmental issues. I've got toxic mold exposure, I've got Lyme disease. I'm sure I have some other toxicity issues in there, probably heavy metals from working with paints and art supplies my whole life. I'm almost certain there's at least one of them, circulating around in there. So yeah, it's tough. It really is. And I firmly believe that environmental issues are health issues, and that you can't separate the two, but unfortunately it really does seem like not only the medical field, but also just agriculture, everything else. It's like there's not a marrying of that yet. And, fingers crossed that will eventually change, because, you could do everything right. You really can. You can eat right, you can exercise, you can drink clean water, but, your food is always going to be somewhat tainted. So there's really no escaping it, and it's really unfortunate. Then you've got all of the man-made materials and the toxins, let's say, in our skincare and toiletry items, stuff like that. It's just, it's really, really tough to navigate, especially when you are having health issues from that, and the medical system doesn't understand literally any of that, unless you have the money to go outside of it. And even then, it's hard to find just one doctor that's going to understand all of this, or at least it has been for me. I've seen a number of them, and I still don't have my full picture together yet. So anyway, that's been my week. I've been dealing with the fallout from that, but then also insanely stressed out, just really, really, really anxious. I haven't been able to fall asleep very easily, and I've got like rashes breaking out on the sides of my face, up here. I'm just really, I can't tell you how anxious I am. I don't know if, I think that's probably somewhat related to hormones and trauma and everything else, but yeah, it's been kind of a tough week. But on the plus side, my memory is improving, so hopefully I'll be getting a review up here soon. I started rehearsing and I'm actually remembering what I'm reading, so that's a huge win. It almost makes like everything from this past week worth it. So, but yeah, other than that, I don't really have much to update this week. This coming Wednesday, I'm going to go live again on Facebook at noon to talk about my experience with spatial awareness. This past week, I talked about my experience with face blindness with traumatic brain injury, and I'm doing this kind of like a little series or whatever for March is Traumatic Brain Injury Awareness Month. So as uncomfortable as it is for me to go live, I'm doing it anyway. So, and what's interesting about that to me is, like, before my head injuries, it wouldn't have bothered me to do any of this stuff, but now afterwards, I'm just so uncomfortable and I feel so uncertain about things. Like, I really genuinely have forgotten who I am, and I went through a very long period of time that was really difficult, and so I think that I'm shaken a little bit, but I've been really kind of trying to look inward a bit more and work on that part of myself. I've been working on building some exercises to kind of help jog my memory of who I am again, and kind of, not to feel so awkward all the time, because it's not just the lives and whatnot that I feel awkward with, it's around people in general. So it's challenging, but I'm going to keep doing it and pushing until I get more comfortable. But anyway, I think that's it for this week. I'll see you next. Thank you. Bye.